waiting to make this video for a long time because I learned a lot of algorithms. I find it fairly easy and I just think it's fun in general, which is kind of weird but at the same time unique, I suppose. And so ZBLL is pretty daunting, and one of the things people think is a pretty major downside is recognition. So I'm going to just explain how recognition is completely easy and how I do every case. Now, I've seen some pretty notorious ZBLL users doing things like this, and yes, I know this may work for some people, but I'll say things like this. I'll say I see these three colours that match up, and also these two, stuff like that. For me, I use a much simpler system, which is as simple as this. I'm pretty sure you can recognise this PLL from just this, even if I was not showing any of this. If you knew it's an EPLL, you can see what it is, surely. So why can't we imagine that's an EPLL? This block is always going to be here for soon. And so with that in mind, that's a lot more instant than recognising other things around the cube. So let's go with soon for now. So you'll start with COLL. Now I'm not going to go over COLL recognition, but I can recognise it's pure soon pretty simply. And then I recognise the edge permutation. Now again, you don't need to look at all the edges. It's just this block. And for cases where you don't have that block, I'll go over that in a second. Anyway, here I recognise it's the same as having a U-perm from this angle. So that's solved, and there's an opposite there. And in this case, you know something's going to skip. So when you have a big block like this, you're not going to recognise using this entire block, like 2 by 3 here. You still take a segment of it, like that. And I'll show you why that makes it easier. This isn't an EPLL. This doesn't look like an EPLL. But without that, it does look like an EPLL. Pretty simple, but may as well cover it. That being said, there's no point covering it for the U cases as well, so again, just recognise the EPLL with one block. And it's a lot easier that way. Now with L, you've got two possible blocks you can take. You can take this one at the back or this one at the front. It's up to you. I use this one at the front because I have more algorithms that are executed from here than from back there. This one isn't. That's a pretty simple one. Okay, so now to go over the ones where there aren't blocks, because honestly you can probably figure out this by yourself. So here I take these two sides for it. So the same applies. Oh, I don't have another bloody thing. Oh, I do. Okay, we're using this now. You can still recognise PLL from two sides if it's these two sides. So you can do the same using this. It's a bit harder, some look similar. You may need to learn some extra information, but I'll go over cases in a minute where you'll have to do things like that. So here I'll just see solved, solved. You can then remember things like opposite, adjacent, 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 and then if it's two adjacents you can compare the colours in a certain way. But yeah, and then just learn the ZBLL. Learn that one earlier. And here, I mean, it would be a bit weird to trace the entire EPLL, so I take the block that's these two and just imagine that's giving me the information. And so in that case, it's like having not seeing this sticker or this sticker and then recognising the EPLL from that. So again, nothing different. Let's see, solved, solved, and do the ZBLL for that. So this is where the only exception really. Like, can you tell that these are different cases? Well, they are. The simple answer is this is going anti-clockwise and this is going clockwise. But that takes too long to notice. So when you notice they're adjacent and it's not a Z-perm, which you should be able to tell pretty easily, just from experience. What I do is find a corner to compare a sticker with, and for these cases in particular I compare with this corner just for consistency. Here they're the same, and here they're opposite. So another example, so from what I've said you can probably figure this out, but since the lighting's bad and so you can't exactly see, here we've got a block here, so solved and adjacent, and so here you'd think they're the same case, but actually here you can either see there's a block in the back as well, whereas there isn't here. For me, my way to do that is just to compare it to this bar here. So it's the same here. You can't exactly see because the red's bad in this, but that's red and that's orange, so they're opposite. So other than that, just use a ZBLL trainer and should be fairly easy. So this one is bestsiteever.ru/ZBLL, and it's very good. I can generate scrambles for ZBLL, and then I don't normally time them because I'm not practicing execution yet. And what it will do is it will cycle through all of them and just use that to practice recognition. Not only recognition, but recall of the algorithm. I did one wrong there. And yeah, that's my entire stance on learning to recognise ZBLL. So yeah, hope that was helpful.